Reception begins. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. That's Tom Bellinger, Chair of the Olmsted County Extension Master Gardener. See his name tag?
Got my name tag on. And this is Kelly Ray Kirkpatrick, our Vice Chair of the Master Gardeners here in Olmsted County.
Where are we? Where are we here
We're
today?
at the Martin Luther King Community Garden and Learning Center.
Yeah, here we are. And we came by here this morning just to give a check and to flip the last couple of beds over and plant some dry seeds. I know you may be thinking, wow, dry seeds in this heat, but they're just going to stay dormant. They're going to lay dormant on the ground until we get some rain or we come back and water, and they'll be ready to grow as soon as they get the moisture that they need. And what did we do this year that was really cool with the perimeter of the garden, Tom?
Yeah, because I'm not much of a vegetable garden expert as Kelly is, but so what we did this year was add a pollinator border garden around the vegetables, and we'll kind of stop and look at some of these here, if you can see them. So Kelly got some variety of these. I think there's 10 of them that, let's see if I can get that down there. So there's 10 of these that we planted that she got from Olmsted County.
The Olmsted County Soil and Conservation District donated 3 flats of plants for us. So we got, I think there were 36 plugs in each. So a little over 100 plants that we got put in. Lots of different varieties. We have anise hyssop, we have
So right here is the prairie blazing star.
and purple prairie clover, and we've got all kinds of lovely natives here. And what's really cool about
Coreopsis.
planting natives or pollinators along with your vegetable garden is that the pollinators, as most of you know, 30 to 40% of our food in our whole on the whole planet comes from pollinators. So if we didn't have pollinators, you can just kind of say goodbye to lots of your food groups. For instance, the Cucurbitaceae family, which is your melons, your squash, your cucumbers, all of those foods rely on insects because those plants produce female and male flowers. So the pollen needs to get over to the female part, the female flower, and the plant relies on insects to do that. Other plants such as corn or maybe some of the brassicas or the lettuces that we have, they can rely on wind, spinach, wind to blow the pollen around, and they become fertilized to create that food that we eat, and then the seeds that we eventually plant that food with the following year.
Yep, and then of course a lot of people's favorites, the tomatoes and the peppers. That family really doesn't need as much from the bees.
No.
Because they pretty much self-pollinate. Because the anthers kind of surround the stigma, and pretty much any kind of shaking, any kind of wind movement will get them. But obviously, if you have bees in there, they're going to help set the fruit, right? Which is really the key thing, what we're talking about.
Right, exactly, yeah. So we are looking at doing another planting here, or a maintenance day at the MLK garden. We've got to put our chicken wire up around the base of our fencing that we've got here. We've got a lot of our crops growing already. They're doing really, really well. I'm going to be coming back with my water tank to water, but you can see some of the beds in the background here that we've turned over. This is pretty much a weed-free bed because we did a smother and cover technique, which is great, and it's just been phenomenal. There's hardly any weeds, and you can see we've got kales and brassicas planted right here, and some of those are actually ready to harvest now already here in the middle of June. So we'll be coming back to put the chicken wire down. We're going to do a light weighting on this pollinator perimeter that goes around the whole garden and put down some mulch. And we also need to put down some straw on top, which does 2 things. That's going to retain moisture in the soil and also occlude light to minimize future weed growth. But the real benefit of the straw that I like to that I find when I put it down, why I like to use it, is oat straw generally has a lot of seeds in it. I always get the weedy mix, so those oat grains germinate in the soil, and you have oats growing up in the garden, and it forms a great cover crop. So you've got living roots down in the soil, and then you've also got the shaded area, and then you've got a lot of nice organic matter that you can turn in the spring, or have a covering, another mulch on top. So cover crops are great too. So we've got a work day coming up. So look for that, and hopefully you can come by and donate a couple of hours to our community garden and join us.
And a little bit more about the bees. I mean, we really want to try to attract native bees. A a lot of the native bees, you know about the honeybees, but they're probably managed by people miles away from here. They're probably not even focused on getting anything out of this garden. They're probably focused more on clover fields and other sources of pollen and nectar. But basically, the native bees, a lot of them they live in burrows and things in the ground. So I like to at home at least have some open ground, make sure that some bees get there, especially in my raspberry patch. I got some holes. I noticed bumblebees coming out of the ground while I'm in there. There's also stem nesting bees. I tried to promote that on a little slide, or I guess a slideshow that I did on our Facebook page as well. And that's kind of interesting. So there's about 15% that are stem nesting, but most of them are solitary, bees. They just live by themselves, the queen, and they will lay their eggs and nest on themselves basically in the ground. So keep some open ground, and we'll hopefully see some bumblebees here later in the year as we attract them with these wonderful pollinators. Kelly did a good job picking these pollinator plants. A lot of them are, of course, you want season-long blooming, and you want to make sure you got different colors. You want to make sure we got a lot of texture here, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. When we laid them out, we didn't just plant them as they came out of the flat. I clustered them together to kind of create little vignettes and textural differences between millefoliate and lanceolate foliage places. You gotta flip your screen.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Can you flip your screen?
Can I flip my screen?
We know how. We know how. Where is it? Right here. Is this it? Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, that is it. Yep. All right.
Ta-da!
Ta-da. Okay. So here where do you want to?
Go to this corner down here by the pollinators.
Okay, right here.
So you can see how we've grouped some together. This is a goldenrod that's grouped here, and then we go to an anise hyssop. Then I've grouped together some of the wild onion, and then we've got a couple of more individual plants, and then I've also grouped together some of the purple prairie clover, and then we just kind of rotated through, and then here's 3 more anise hyssop. So you don't have to plant individual plants. Sometimes it's nice to have a larger cluster of things to just bring a little more detail and a little more concentrated color and foliage to your garden.
And then of course, Kelly's taken advantage of the railing that we have here by planting some.
Yep, the reason we put up this big fence was, one, as just kind of a beautification, an attraction, but also we put it up to use it as a growing space. So we have about 315 extra square feet just growing peas here. Project Legacy came out, one of our partners, and the youth worked really, really hard at planting the perimeter, while some of us planted the interior, but we've got peas on the front, we've got cucumbers coming up and melons on the side, and then along the back perimeter we've got beans, and then I think we've got cucumbers over there on that side as well. So we've utilized the whole perimeter of the garden and this fencing to be able to grow food. So we're maximizing our garden by an extra 315 square feet. So it's kind of neat to use that vertical growth. What are you pointing at?
Okay, so I think.
What did you see?
That's wonderful. So
deer?
I think we want to take advantage of, since we have time here, to maybe look at the compost pile, because we got some interesting things in there.
Oh yeah, what do we have in the compost pile?
We're going to go over there,
okay.
Which is very important for those that are able to compost, have a location with plenty of sun in their yard for their garden. But I'm going to have Kelly talk about how she manages that. One thing you'll notice in the garden, one thing that I had to learn was you have areas where you want to step around the garden and not compact the soil that's being used by the plants. So you'll see that, and she actually lays some straw down there, and we got some residual leaf matter. So it's nicely set out so people can come in here and tend to the garden. So let's look over here at our compost bins.
So compost, we added some straw and some leaves here. Just from this morning, we picked them up off of the top of the beds, the final beds that we flipped. And then underneath, we've got some community coffee grounds and some filters. And this will all get incorporated together and mixed up. One of the unfortunate things about the weather pattern we've been having is it's really dry. And compost needs to be moist. So what we need to do is we've got to water this and get it wet. And your compost, when you squeeze it in your hand, you should have 1 drop of water coming out. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and fork through this, and then we'll add some moisture to it, and it'll really start cooking. I flipped my compost pile the other day, and it was so hot. Yeah, actually feel how hot this is, Tom.
All right.
How warm it is under there.
It's probably that spent grain I have from brewing.
Oh yeah, you put spent grain in here. Yeah, it's mine was steaming when I flipped it the other
Wow,
morning.
it is.
Like an
Very
80-degree
good.
morning.
So you can see the moisture that Kelly's showing
you
there.
see the moisture on these leaves that's here? Uncut leaves like this, you can see exactly. This is a great example of what uncut leaves do. They just mat together. So they're not the best thing to add to the compost pile, but these had blown in here from the winter time, and when you get them stirred up, see, this doesn't even smell bad. It smells nice.
Yep.
Because it's decomposing.
Smells like coffee.
It does smell like coffee. Yeah.
Thanks to what, Fiddlehead?
This is Fiddlehead and I think Cafe Steam actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that's another thing. Look for the Sign Up Genius coming out. If you want coffee grounds for your personal compost pile at home, sign up on the Sign Up Genius to pick up coffee grounds from Fiddlehead, Cafe Steam, Old Abe Coffee. Who else is one of our partners there? Oh, Hollandberry. Hollandberry has a lot of coffee grounds every week. Andy Smith with Grey Duck. Theater and Coffee House is one of our partners, Fiddlehead. Let's see here, what else we got?
So in coffee, you probably heard a lot about brown and green layering. You want to kind of...
brown and green layering.
So coffee is what? And
Coffee's brown.
Okay.
So it should be about 30%. Actually, because of the acidity, we should probably have more like 20% coffee grounds.
Yep.
So a couple of trips to help out our coffee houses would be really great, and you could incorporate that into your compost pile. But the rest of it should be green matter. So you generally want 60% green matter, 30% brown matter. Woo, what are you doing?
I was on the wrong side.
Okay. And then 10% moisture, and that's where you grab a clump of it and it should squeeze out a drop of water or so. So as you could tell from this, our compost is really dry, so we need to water it. Everything's really dry. Whoa, we got a panel out there, Tom.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
I
some
think people are
extra
trying to
work.
climb the fence.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be climbing the fence.
So anyway, Kelly, I hope everybody is getting a chance to watch this. In fact, it's going to stay on the Facebook page. So if you didn't catch us live, and I'm actually checking to see if we've got any questions. I guess Gail is watching us.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Gail who? I know about 4
Gail
Gails.
Kinsey. So.
Oh, yay. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail. So anyway, we thought we'd do this, and then we're going to probably maybe do some other gardens.
Yeah, we're gonna share the love.
We're
Every
gonna-
Tuesday, we're gonna be back to the Tom and Kelly show. Tom and I usually meet every Tuesday morning, and we call it the Tom and Kelly show because we have so much fun together. So
And then, so we'll be looking at some other gardens. So if you got questions, post them on this Facebook Live, and we can catch them after our broadcast later today. So
yeah,
if anything else, I guess that's it.
that's it.
We're
Rock
signing,
your day.
We're signing off from MLK. Thank you.